Snow White and Her Twisted Cell Phone Fairy Tale by Chelsea, Mary, Natasha, and Yvette. One winter's day when the snow was falling, a beautiful queen sat sewing by a window. As she looked out onto the white garden, she saw a black raven, and while she looked at it, she accidentally pricked her finger with the needle. When she saw the drop of blood, she thought to herself, "How wonderful it would be if I could have a little girl whose skin was as white as the snow out there, her hair as black as the raven, and her lips as red as this drop of blood." Not long afterward, the queen had a baby daughter, and when she saw her jet black hair, snowy white skin, and red, red lips, she remembered her wish and called her Snow White. Snow White grew up to be a pretty child, but sadly, after a few years, her mother died and her father married again. The new queen, Snow White's stepmother, was a beautiful woman too, but she was very vain. More than anything else, she wanted to be certain that she was the most beautiful woman in the world. She had a magic mirror, and she used to look at herself in it every day and say, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?" And the mirror would always reply, "You, O Queen, are the fairest of all." The queen would smile when she heard this, for she knew the mirror never failed to speak the truth. The years passed. Each year Snow White grew prettier and prettier, until one day her stepmother looked in the magic mirror and said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?" And the mirror replied, "You, O Queen, are fair, 'tis true, but Snow White is fairer now than you." The queen was angry and jealous. In a terrible rage, she decided that Snow White should be taken far, far away from the castle, never to be heard from again. She called for an Uber driver and told him to take Snow White far into the forest where there was no Wi-Fi reception and no cell service, and to leave her there. In order to prove that Snow White was indeed left in the middle of nowhere, she commanded him to bring proof back to her. The Uber driver was very sad. Snow White was a good customer. Like everyone in the king's household, he loved Snow White, but he knew he must obey his orders. He took her deep into the forest, and as he told her this was her stop, Snow White fell to her knees. "Please don't leave me here," she begged. "I don't have cell reception to call for Lyft to pick me up. I am also out of data and my phone is dying. I won't be able to ever return to the palace. If you take me to a place where there is a Wi-Fi signal, I'll never return to the palace, I promise." The hunter agreed gladly. He was sure the queen would never know he had disobeyed her. He took a selfie with Snow White deep in the forest and took it back as proof for the queen.